Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be taking a first look at a brand new game which just entered early access, I think it was last Thursday, and the game in question, as you can see on the screen in front of you, is Victory at Sea Ironclad. It's the newest game out by, oh my goodness, I already forgot the name, Evil Twin Artworks. They're the studio that has developed Victory at Sea Pacific, as well as a prior Victory at Sea game which I think was just Victory at Sea. And so this is obviously a series of games. The last game, Victory at Sea Pacific, looked at the American, well, not the American, I guess it looked at the Pacific theater of operations in World War II from either the American/Allied perspective or from the Japanese perspective. And it was a very ambitious game which tried to model the Pacific theater of operations in real time with like fully zoomable maps where you could zoom in and out so that you could move units around a grand strategic map of the Pacific, and then when units met, you could zoom down in and fight tactical battles. And it was very interesting in concept. I think it was very, as I already said, ambitious in concept. It had some issues with bugs, and I also think it had some issues with scaling, where the way that they did some of the things, perhaps for gameplay reasons to keep things, fast-paced and interesting, was they made like production and logistic times way too short. So you ended up being able to build carriers in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, and so you kind of compressed 1941 and 42 down into the entire war, so you could fight a war really, really fast. And maybe from a gameplay perspective that would be interesting. Although I think I'm more of the war in the Pacific mode of, make that war long, make it last, make you really feel the logistical hurdles and the massive effort that conflict was. Now, Victory at Sea Ironclad, as you might guess from the title, is actually a game that models the American Civil War. So the same concept, you have a grand strategic map of the United States, the East and the Gulf coasts, and you are trying to take the enemy ports and sort of if you're playing as the Union anyway, your objective is to strangle the Confederacy. The successful Anaconda plan, if you will. Take the Confederate ports, take the Confederate blockade runners, cut them off from the outside world, and let the Confederacy wither on the vine. If you're playing as the Confederacy, then your objective is obviously to prevent the Union from doing this. And so you can do things like send blockade runners out to bring supplies to Europe or to British possessions in the Caribbean, as well as French or Spanish possessions in those various facilities or various islands as well. And so it attempts to model the naval war and the American Civil War in a real-time way that has both strategic and tactical elements. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at here today. We're going to jump into the campaign because it's really the only gameplay option right now. There will be custom battles apparently, but the game is in early access, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. There's going to be a Confederate game coming later, but right now at this current state in early access, the only option is the Union campaign. The game regularly sells for $39.99. That seems to be the price. I assume that's the pre- and post-early access price. I think for launch week or so, they're charging like $35. But it's I don't think there's going to be a big price hike when it comes out of early access. I think this is probably about what the price will be, both early access and now. We're going to play a Union campaign, as that's our only option. We're going to go ahead and play on medium difficulty, and we're going to jump right in. I am going to go ahead and skip the tutorial because I've already played that off screen. So please don't yell at me if I do really bad, because I have played the tutorial, but I'm not sure. It's a pretty sparse tutorial. It tells you some basic mechanics like fighting and moving units around the map, but it's pretty light. I got through the whole thing in about 30 minutes, so we'll see how well it prepared me for the war. But let's go ahead and jump in here and let's see what we've got. Here we go. All right, we are into the game on the main strategic map here. You can see it immediately gives me a objective, the Anaconda plan, which the objective is to force the rebels to surrender. So I guess that's a good objective to have if you're playing as the Union. You want to force the Confederate forces to surrender. We also want to starve the Confederacy of resources, which again, obviously, if you're playing as the Navy and trying to blockade the enemy, that would be certainly an objective. One of the other objectives it wants us to do is to capture Fort Hatteras in North Carolina, which is actually down in this region, so the Palmetto Sound region here. There's a lot of intercoastal commerce that occurs in between North Carolina and Virginia inside these inlets here that are sort of shielded from a lot of the ocean weather and currents and things like that. And there's also just like literally hundreds of little places for blockade runners to hide. If you take these ports here, however, on these islands, and you take this you know, the Cape Hatteras and I don't even these islands on the exterior portion of it, it really will help you shut down anything that tries to get out to sea and will allow you to effectively bottle up large parts of the Confederate commerce. And actually, that's one of the reasons it was one of the first areas that the Union Navy did historically attack in the Civil War, because it allowed them to do a lot of damage to the Confederates just by shutting these waterways down. So we'll go ahead and hit OK there. It also wants me to capture Biloxi, OK. And enemy vessels have been spotted on the James River. So if we go here, I don't think I can enter combat, but if we go here, we can see one gunboat is spotted on the James River. If we go down here, you can see here enemy warships spotted in Mobile, I guess, Mobile Bay. Okay, it's a blockade runner. Enemy vessels have been spotted near Aquia Station here as well. That's a gunboat here up the river near Fredericksburg. And we've already got them bottled up with the Potomac Flotilla, I think. So with that being said, we're playing on ×1 speed here. It's 12:58 on October 28th, 1861. And so you can see I can use the WASD keys to move around the map. You can use the mouse wheel to scroll out. You use your middle mouse wheel button to swivel the camera around, you know, on any particular angle. And you can see, obviously, the focus of this game is the coast. You know, it's a naval game, so we're playing as the Union, and our objective is to take a lot of these ports here or to blockade the Confederacy to prevent blockade runners from getting out. Confederate blockade runners are likely going to try to sprint out to Havana, out to Nassau, and they may even try to go to Europe itself to get resources that the Confederacy doesn't have access to. Can I slow this down to pause? Yeah. Okay, so the game is fundamentally a resource management game that is about gaining resources by trade with Europe, while also, you know, enacting a blockade or enforcing a blockade or breaking the blockade. And so you can see up here we have money, we have gold that we can use to purchase ships or troops or upgrade facilities or things like that. We have timber, which is obviously a resource that's needed to build wooden warships, which were the primary warships of the day, despite the fact that ironclads did exist. Coal, which is obviously needed to power ships and things like that. Iron, which, you know, as you would guess, is needed for iron sides on iron ships, but also relevant to, you know, other machinery on shipping. You also have the resource of food, of cotton, of sugar, tobacco, and then you have a crew resource and an ammunition resource, which are all represented along the top of the screen. You can see here we have multiple different flotillas. We've got the 7th Flotilla, which is up here near Baltimore. The 7th Flotilla consists of 2 gunboats in it. So we can click on that if we want to see the ships in the flotilla. Up here on the top left, you've got the USS... I can't really read that. It looks like the Commodore Perry gunboat and the Commodore Barney gunboat on Squadron A of Flotilla 7. We've also got the Gulf Blockading Squadron down here in the Gulf, as you would guess. That consists of 2 gunboats, 4 sloops of war, 1 sloop, 1 steam frigate, and 1 steam screw frigate. You can see the ships here along the left side. The Colorado, the Brooklyn, the Pensacola, the Preble, the DeSoto, the Richmond, the Hatteras, and the Vincennes. And you can see their ship classes next to them. If we click on the individual ships, we can also see a little bit of info down here about their weaponry here. You've got a little ship icon that represents the ship. I clicked on the Preble, which is a sloop. You can see she has 8 32-pound smoothbores on one side of the ship and 8 32-pound smoothbores on the other side of the ship. If we go ahead and we click on the Colorado, which is a frigate, you can see she is much more heavily armed. 12 9-inch smoothbores, 7 8-inch smoothbores, and 2 10-inch smoothbores on one side of the ship, and then it looks like an equal armament on the other side of the ship. And you can see she is currently, or this task force is currently set to patrol the Gulf. You can see this white line here represents their course. Flotilla 3, which is in Massachusetts Bay near Boston, consists of one sloop of war. The Mississippi River Squadron is modeled here, so it also looks like we will be modeling the attempt to clear the river and sort of split the Confederacy in two. So you can see the Mississippi River is represented on the map. We've got Vicksburg, we've got Grand Gulf, we've got Natchez, Simmsport, Bayou Sara, Port Hudson, Baton Rouge, Donaldsonville, Theobox, New Orleans, and then at the tip of the Mississippi River, we've got Fort St. Philip and Fort Jackson, those two large forts which block the path up to New Orleans. And then we also have Proctorville, sort of on the inland waterway area, which also was another way that blockade runners could get goods out of New Orleans. It doesn't, interestingly enough, the fact that it has all these cities and towns and it's got rivers like up into the heart of, Louisiana and into the heart of Mississippi and these other places, there's no Tennessee River up here. So, like, there's no Fort Donaldson and Fort Henry, which I find kind of interesting. Like, they want to model the river combat. They've got the Red River up here. So they've got, like, the Red River campaign is something you could launch, go up to Louisiana, Shreveport, and whatnot. And you've, got rivers up in Texas, but they don't include the rivers up this way, which is kind of interesting. And you can see quite a lot of river traffic up in through Florida, Georgia, up into some of these interior places like Columbia, South Carolina. But fundamentally, it's a game about shutting down the commerce on the seaboards here. Oxforn, by the way, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate the support, sir, or madam. You can see here we've got another flotilla number 5 at New York, which consists of 4 gunboats. We've got the Atlantic Blockading Squadron, which consists of, it's on the Potomac River right now, but it consists, it doesn't give me I guess I'll hover over it, a tug, a gunboat, 2 sloops of war, sailing frigate, 2 steam frigates, and 2 steamers. And then we've got the Potomac Flotilla, which consists of 1 steamer. So we know there's enemy gunboats up the James River out toward Is this the James River? Actually, I don't think it is the James River. This is just the Chesapeake, maybe? Well, the Chesapeake's out here. I'm not sure what river that is up toward Fredericksburg, but Aquia Landing was relevant. Also, it looks like you can bombard cities or whatnot because it does have different levels of damage and fortifications that exist in different cities, so that's kind of interesting. But I think the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a play for Cape Hatteras. So I want to make sure that we, try and start weakening the enemy blockade or the enemy shipping situation, and trying to chase down individual blockade runners won't be terribly efficient, I don't think. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make a play for both Fort Clark and Fort Hatteras. They both appear to have 450 soldiers. So we are going to need to put together a pretty formidable force to bombard that force down. Honestly, before we even bother building ships, I think the force that we're going to use is we're going to use the Atlantic Blockading Squadron. It comes with a gunboat with 2 sloops of war, a sailing frigate, 2 steam screw frigates, and 2 steamers. That's a pretty convincing formation. So I'm actually going to go ahead and send these guys up to Baltimore, where is it, Baltimore, or should we send them to Boston? I need to find somewhere where I've got troops that are relatively safe. Boston has 500... Baltimore has 500. So if we click on an individual city here like Baltimore, it actually brings up an option down here on the bottom part of the map. And so you can see here the city of Baltimore has a dock with no ships present currently. It has a shipyard where we could build new ships if we wanted to. It has a battery. It currently has 1 light battery, an open battery of 32-pounder rifles. And then it has a warehouse. We can expand the warehouse if we want. Allows the port to retain a resource production bonus for longer. And it has undeveloped land, which, by the way, I think it's kind of weird. Like, this is supposed to be a game about blockading and strangling the enemy, but, it's also kind of a base building thing. So we've got undeveloped land at Baltimore. So if I wanted to, build a barracks or a sailor's barracks or a fort or... batteries. I guess building batteries and defenses would be relevant when you're playing as the Confederacy. Feels a little bit superfluous when you're playing as the Union, but it also lets you build buildings that, help increase your economy. So, you can build a train station that reduces delivery time for crew. You can build a warehouse, which allows the port to retain a larger production bonus. I don't know. That's a little bit odd to me. But anyway, so let's go up to somewhere where I'm not too worried about troops or the Confederates making a play. By the way, apparently New York State has gold mine, so it gives you gold income. So you can see up here, the resources that we have. You can click here to see all the different ports that are in our control, as well as the number of troops. Where's Fort Wool, by the way? Oh, 1,000 troops there. I'd like to pull troops, but I don't know if I want to pull troops from the tip of Virginia. That's an area that could be attacked. You can see our objectives here, our resources. So you can see we get 101 gold every 7 days. We get 38 timber every 7 days, 63 coal, 76 iron, and 126 food, as well as we get a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of crew, a little bit of troops, and a little bit of ammunition. So you get more troops every week, or more resources every week. You can bombard shore installations, yes. So that's what we're going to do. But before we get to that, let's do this. So the Atlantic Blockading Squadron is actually going to be our task force that we use to attack Cape Hatteras, which is going to be my first goal. But I need to figure out where I'm pulling troops from, because I do need some soldiers for that task. So, what is this? 5 gunboats? All right, let's do this. Let's send these gunboats. Can I just... So I'm going to send these gunboats down to the I think this is the Rappahannock River down here, to blockade this one gunboat in near Fredericksburg, because all I have is one steamer here in the Potomac flotilla. So I'm going to send these 5 gunboats that are up near New York down here to the Rappahannock River. So all I have to do, I click on the flotilla, then I can right-click where I want them to go, and I can just tell them to move. I can also tell them to attack or defend locations, but we're just going to tell them to move here. So they're going to move to the Potomac River. And defend this location down here. Or actually, it's the Potomac. It's not the Rappahannock. The Rappahannock runs this way. This is the Potomac River. You can't pull troops out of your hat, P. Warner? No, you can't. So we're going to move them down and have them join the Potomac flotilla to keep this gunboat here bottled up. Meanwhile, the Atlantic Blockading Squadron is going to pull up to New York, I think it is, and it'll join this one sloop of war, or sorry, up to Boston, and it'll join the one sloop of war up there. So rather than blockade the east coast of the Confederacy, I'm going to acknowledge the fact that right now the blockade is going to be pretty porous, and so I'm not super worried about that. The Confederates have 1 gunboat down here. We have forts that I think will keep this gunboat bottled up near Fort Monroe. So let's go ahead and unpause the game as these ships start moving. Can ships take crew, or can ship crews take casualties and attrition? I don't know yet. This is my very first look at the game, and I know ships can be sunk and troops can lose casualties and things like that, but I don't know if individual ships will lose their strength or not. Actually, maybe we're better off going to... Let's do this. Let's send these guys to Fort Mott. Let's have them go to up the Delaware. I'm going to have this sloop of war up here. You know, there's another weird thing with this game where it's like, if you want to do deliver cargo, collect a cargo first. So you can also do this thing where you like get cargo at different ports and trade it with Europe, which makes sense for the Confederacy, but feels a little bit odd for the Union. All right, let's move this ship into dock, and maybe we'll do some trade. We'll do some trade. Meanwhile, let's also go ahead and up at New York, I'm going to go ahead and start building some stuff. So you can see New York does have some underdeveloped land. We build a barracks, troops, and increases the recruitment rate of troops in the port. We can do sailors' barracks, which increases crew, earthworks, batteries, light forts, train stations, or warehouse. I think we're going to do a sailors' barracks and then maybe just a infantry barracks. So New York's going to kind of be a hub where we get more crew and stuff. So we'll build each one of those. We already have a warehouse. We could upgrade it. We could upgrade the battery, or we could go to the shipyard. So let's go to the shipyard. And then you can see when you go into the shipyard, you can see there's different ships that you can purchase. And as you advance your technology, which I believe your technology is triggered by, like, as you take different bases, your technology will kind of increase as you progress through the campaign. and so you can build bigger and better ships and presumably ironclads and things like that. But you can see here you've got some gunboat classes that are locked to you. You also have, these are a lot of gunboat classes. Gunboat. You've got an ironclad here, an Indianola River ironclad. So all these things are just different locked. You've got the Casco class monitor, the Galena class broadside ironclad. So you've got a whole bunch of different classes of ships that you unlock as you get further into the game and you sort of develop some additional capabilities. But what we're going to do first here at New York is we do have a queue of up to 3 ships we can build here. So I am going to go ahead and build a Mississippi class, U.S. class steam frigate, which is going to cost 68 gold, 68 timber, 68 coal, 188 ammunition, 215 soldiers, and 215 corn. So we'll do that. Actually, no, this is a sidewheel steamer. I don't want to do that. Let's do the Jacinto class screw frigate, which is a little bit more expensive. You can see its speed is 8 knots, range 1,000 nautical miles, can take up to 62 damage. No, the armor is wood, 1,500 ton displacement, and you can see here it can carry 170 crew. And how many? It has sails. It carries 16 8-inch smoothbores. And actually, what about a Franklin class steam frigate? I want to look for something with some rifles in it. So this guy this carries a better armament, I think, but they're all still smoothbores, huh? I guess it's better, though. This takes 27 days. This guy takes 19. So again, like building a full new steam frigate in just a few days is kind of silly in my opinion. You can use different. You can zoom in or zoom out of the icon up here. Don't build any Fletchers. Okay. All right. So we'll build this guy. So we'll construct one of these. I think we'll construct 2 of these. Screw it. Make it 3. No, I don't have enough resources. So I'm burning all my resources building 2 new high-end screw frigates. Now, one of the things the Union actually did in the Civil War was they just converted a lot of merchant ships to sort of blockaders that weren't terribly good merchant or warships, but they didn't really have to be to deal with a lot of what the Confederacy was throwing at them. So we purchased that. Meanwhile, we've got some troops here. I'd like to try and, get more troops here. No ships present in the docks. All right. So these guys are on their way. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to get our ships to where we ordered them to go. So you can see here, times 100 speed, times 200. Enemy vessels have been spotted on the Mississippi River. Wait. How are they up above me? They're coming south? They're north of Cairo? What? Okay. Would you guys go attack them? How are they that far up the damn river? How'd they get right past me? Not a blockade runner heading north on the river. That's nuts. At least not that far north. Like, that's up into, like, Illinois and Minnesota, maybe. Anyway. So we'll go ahead and start that. Going a little bit faster here as we order our river ships to go up. 5th columnist. Fort Wool is under attack. So the enemy has a gunboat attacking Fort Wool. I can't imagine one enemy gunboat is going to do a lot, but it doesn't let me jump into just a fort attack. So the Confederacy retreated, so it looks like the Confederates didn't try and press it with their gunboat there. So let's go ahead and fast forward up again. So you can see day-night cycle. It's now October 29th. Potomac Flotilla has engaged the enemy on the Potomac River. So we've got 1 steamer versus 1 gunboat of theirs. So I guess we'll enter combat here. It looks like one of their gunboats is trying to get out of the Potomac River. I don't know how good my steamer is. So we'll see. Okay, so let's zoom in here. What's my steamer? It's the USS Jacob Bell steamer. It has 1 8-inch smoothbore in the front of the ship, and it has 1 32-pound rifle in the rear of the ship. That could be nice. Now, okay, why? I don't want to look at the vertical. Where's the enemy over here? All right, so the enemy is straight ahead. It's the CSS George Page. Let's go attack this guy. So you can see here our firing arcs are these green arcs on the map. As we get closer and engage with the enemy, we will, fire at them when they're inside this arc. So if we zoom in on the enemy ship here, you can see it's a side wheel gunboat. I'm not sure what their weapons look like on this thing. That doesn't look terribly. That almost looks like the damn thing's made of metal. That looks kind of funny. But you can see it's a nice little 3D battle here that we're about to witness. All right, so let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. No long lances. No brass monkey. I don't think we have to worry about long lances in this particular fight. Now, when you're in a tactical battle, the fastest you can accelerate time is ×4. You can accelerate times like 400 on the strategic map, but not in the tactical battles. But at least there is some time compression as you're trying to move ships around, and you can actually, I believe, do some combat at time compression as well. So we're closing on the enemy, trying to get them into reach. You can see we've got 250 what looks like rounds of ammunition. Our crew is 49 men. You can use canister shot, anti-personnel. You can use cannonball shot, anti-ship, which I think is what I'm going to switch to. So you can see as I click that, it's red. That means those guns are reloading. Why they're taking so long, I don't know. Okay, well, let's actually slow down. So let's engage the enemy. So fire at will. I just click the button up here to tell the guns to fire at will. Going to go and right-click on the enemy ship, and you can see we've begun firing. It's weird that I have guns literally in the front and rear of the ship, but no broadside. I guess I'm a side wheel ship as well. So probably the same situation for him. The enemy is firing shells at me as well, so his first shell was off. And you can see the AI automatically turning. Now, he's presenting his broadside to me, which is great, I think. And you can see here the angle on the gun is this little green icon. How long does it take to reload this damn thing? This is like real life reloading. All right, turn the ship. He's gonna get by you, dude. I don't know if he's faster than me. Oh, come on. All right. He's just on the edge of your firing envelope. Turn faster. Levering Guis and Farmer Cletus and Urti Delta White, thank you for the follows. All right, so the enemy is, I mean, maybe we'd be better off showing him our stern. I don't know if he's trying to fight me. It looks like he may just be trying to get away. Ah, crap. Am I dropping frames? I was saying there's some encoding issues. I may have to adjust the stream here in a minute, guys. All right, so how about you just let him sail behind you and then fire your rifle behind him. Oh, no, he hit me. All right, I may have to adjust the stream in a second here, guys. I know it says encoding is overloaded. Fire. Oh, you guys suck. Come on. Give me better aim than that. We've taken a hit and we've done no damage to the enemy. No crew died though. We're still at 49 crew. You get a rifled gun on the rear of the ship too. He obviously is trying to get outside the 8-inch smoothbore in the front, which has level 2 damage, whereas the 32-pound rifle only does 1 damage in the rear of the ship. He hit me again! Still no crew damage. You can see we took a little bit of damage on the ship. Oh, come on, guys. Does it tell me? It doesn't tell me how large the caliber of his fire is. Another miss. God, these guys suck. How would you turn the other way, dude? Try and get your front around on him. Stop with the stern chase here. Get your 32-pounder around. I think what I'll do is I'll try and get one more shot off with the rear gun, then we'll swing around to try and get the foregun, because he's literally doing circles around me. All right, we took another hit there. That went into the hull. All right, I turned too hard, so the rear won't be able to get another shot off. They're hitting us in the bow each time. All right, we're almost around on him. My throttle's turned all the way up. I'd like to try and close the range, but this gunboat just seems like it's a better vessel than me. All right, stop there. Level up. Fire. Another miss. All right, turn so that you can... God damn, he hits me every time. Ram it? I don't know that I can do that. He's too nimble. I mean, my throttle's all the way up. I haven't lost a crew member yet. I'm not moving a whole lot, but I am moving in theory. I think part of the reason is we keep changing course, so we lose a lot of headway. Will it automatically fire? I think I have to tell him to fire every time. I hit him! Ooh, we did a good deal of damage with that hit. With all the hits we've taken, I'm pretty sure we did more damage to him on one hit with our 32-pounder in the front, or our 8-incher in the front, than he did with every single one of his hits. So presumably this is just going to be a lot of us turning in circles to try and engage the guy. Alright, this battle, as you can see, was a little bit drawn out, and I do want to show more of this stream and more of the battles that occurred a little bit later in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead, because this is just a 1v1 battle, and you can definitely accelerate through stuff like this and not micro the battle in the way that I do here. So we're just going to jump ahead a little bit and rejoin the stream. See if we can get another shot off here before he gets around on us again. You can hear a lot of the wood plank, you know, cracking of the wood. So he's at about half health. Now, our stores are not in good shape, our rudder's not in good shape, our engines are not in good shape. But the actual green line, which I'm assuming represents the integrity of the ship, is fine. Another hit there, although that one didn't seem to do a whole lot of damage on him. He's going to try and run away. By the way, it looks like we're turning faster than he is now. Which would be great if I could just keep my forward gun around on him, because that's the devastating one. All right, turn a little bit faster. Oof, another hit. Oh, yeah, I think I can outmaneuver this guy now. Although he might be trying. No, is he trying to run? I can't tell. All right, I'm just going to try and keep my forward guns around on him now, because it seems like we're maneuvering more quickly than he is at this point. It's like a Star Trek episode. The only problem is our smoothbore, as predictable, is not very good at range. Then again, our rifled gun hasn't seemed much better. These rifled guns are good for long-range work. Also, it does seem like the wind and the currents matter in terms of how quickly you can turn. Because I definitely, when I'm trying to go toward the left or upper part of this map, I turn much more slowly than when I swing around on the bottom part of the map. How much ammo do I have left? Plenty. So it would be great if this, you know... Not sure how exciting this is to watch right now. I'm not sure what to make of these bottom items here, though. The stores, the rudder, and the fuel system are all very battered. Can I just, like, attack? What if I just tell it to attack? Will it fight on its own? Can I just skip some of the manual control? I didn't see if my guy shot or not. No, doesn't look like I shoot at all. Huh. Well, that's annoying. It didn't seem to shoot at all. Although, when I have done the right-click attack on forts, like in the tutorial, it does work, so... Ooh, big hit there. He's ablaze now, by the way, guys. You can see he's on fire. I'm curious if he tries to retreat at all. Hard over, sir. You can't turn fast enough. Damn it. Damn it! Alright, I guess we'll reverse rudder. Let's try and slow down a little bit. Maybe we're only making 1 knot as is. But his health is down to about half. So, I mean, this battle kind of drags on a little bit with not a lot of meaningful tactical decisions at this point, in my opinion. Also, it doesn't seem to differentiate ammunition types, even though we've got 2 different types of guns. So it kind of has a generic ammo value, but it doesn't differentiate based on types, which is interesting, I guess. I do like, though, when you look at these kind of warships historically anyway, there were definitely different, you know, gun layouts. And you think of, like, the Age of Sail anyway, you think of all the... you know, the broadsides and whatnot. That's definitely a thing for a lot of these types of warships, but not all of them by any means. There were a lot of like swivel mount guns at this point, and whatnot. Especially when you get into like side wheel steamers where you can't exactly have a traditional broadside because the damn side wheel's in the way. Okay, I think we just crippled her. That last hit, you saw a bunch of red indicators popped up. And she kind of staggered there. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't taken any crew casualties yet either. But she's not in good shape, so we're gonna maybe try and close the distance. So we'll crank the speed up and see if we can't close the range. I don't know if boarding actions exist in the game. There was no tutorial item about boarding actions. Attack, turn, defend. It does say troops required for something, so I'm wondering if that would be like a boarding action. Well, I think we just sank her, boys. Yeah. Hey, Lake. Alright, so we just sank the Confederacy's gunboat here. Can I exit out of this battle? Alright, the enemy fleet is destroyed near the Potomac River. It was just an individual gunboat here. My own gunboat took some damage, so we're going to go and set it back up to Annapolis to... I'm assuming we can, like, repair the ship up at Annapolis. We'll go ahead and speed this up. Meanwhile, we do have one enemy gunboat, which appears to have broken through the blockade. The non-existent blockade, really. Mississippi Squadron has engaged the enemy on the Mississippi River. I'm curious how these river battles look like. So we've got 3 gunboats, and they, I think, have 1 cotton-clad ram. So we've got a multi-ship task force here on the river. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to ram my ships, though, because I haven't seen that. So you can see this is a very different-looking battle in this particular scenario. You've got a river. So we've got 3 gunboats here sailing up the river, and the enemy cotton-clad ram up here. So we've got the entire task force selected right now. That's the Tyler, the Lexington, and the Conestoga gunboats. We'll right-click on this enemy unit here and tell it to attack. So these guys are in formation here. You can see the different types of ships. So these are wooden gunboats on the Mississippi River. They're not tin-clads. They're just traditional wooden gunboats here. They are side wheels. It looks like they've got two 32-pounder rifles in the front, and then they've got and they've also got a broadside behind the side wheel, it looks like, in the rear of the ship, with a 30-pounder on each side. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. I just shot at my own ship. Wasn't trying to do that, guys. Just go attack this guy. All right? I was just trying to click on the ships to look at their different armaments. 132-pound smoothbore in the front of this guy. What is this? Armor piercing -1? Does that mean they're bad at armor piercing, or? Yeah, butcher. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Meanwhile, like, what's this guy doing up here? Is he sailing toward me? He is. So he is a cotton-clad ram, which doesn't look any different than the gunboat that we saw on the previous screen. Although, maybe the fact that it's a ram will allow him to, you know, ram my ships and destroy me? I guess we'll see. So let's go ahead and fast forward and bring these guys closer in to action. We're all sailing toward each other. Maybe we can gain another victory. It's weird that these guys are north of us on the Mississippi River, but who knows? The historical fragger. The historical fragger, shooting his men in history. From Vietnam to Benghazi, the historical fragger. All right, so we're in range. I don't like that I have to tell them to shoot. I'm sure there's a command to automatically do it, but those 2 forward guns on their way. Ooh, we scored some hits right away on that enemy ship. You can see we did quite a bit of damage on that first salvo. The other ships in rear of the line are coming into range here in a moment as well, but that lead ship is going right for him. Are they going to collide? I really want to see what a ram does in game. Oh my god, they're going to collide. Dude, don't get hit. Don't give him your broadside. He's a ram. Oh boy. Oh, one of the rear ships fired into him. So he avoided. He dodged. I don't know if ramming is a thing in the game or not. Okay, he's trying to turn and get his forward gun around. Are you going to run aground? Please don't run aground. I mean, I could tell him to... I don't know. Nice. So the rear ships are continuing to pound this cotton-clad. The Conestoga got a really nice salvo off to start the battle, though. Meanwhile, our rear ships are firing on their own now. Good job, boys. Get your guns into action. Oh, she's not in great shape. She's crippled, and under she goes. Shooting Confederate gunboats like they're fish in a barrel. Well, there you go. Another victory for us. The enemy fleet is destroyed near the Mississippi River. So our 3 gunboats didn't even take any damage, I don't think. Maybe a little bit. We'll move to Cairo. Meanwhile, there is one blockade runner here. I'd like to try and engage him. So let's see if the Gulf blockading squadron, which, by the way, you can see it had a patrol radius to blockade all these different locations. I'm telling them to ignore their orders to try and get this raider, or this blockade runner. Meanwhile, these guys are going to sail north to try and pick up some troops. It's going to take them a little while, but I really do want to try and take Fort Hatteras, and I need probably the entire Atlantic fleet to do it right now. So you can see this gunboat here, which was damaged. The Potomac flotilla is almost up to Annapolis. Actually, she is at Annapolis. So no ships present. Can you dock? Two gunboats here, one gunboat there. How do I repair this guy? I mean, it is at the port. Maybe it looks like it may have just repaired itself, actually. All right, let's merge those two fleets. So we've got 2 steamers and 1 gunboat now. We're going to go ahead and send these guys back out to sea. Meanwhile, our 5 gunboats, which had been up at New York, let's try and attack this enemy gunboat with these. Although it does look like he's trying to pull into Elizabeth City. Meanwhile, can these guys pick up any cargo up here? Collect cargo. The enemy has been seen trading with the following regions: Nassau, Havana. Good to know. Okay, so the first week is over, so we gain more gold, some corn, and other things like that. Enemy vessels have been spotted near the Florida Keys. This is why you don't want to really, like, drive around and... Not a very effective blockade to try and just, like, chase enemy ships around. Alright, so... Alright, dock these guys. I don't know actually where I docked them. Alright, so we've docked them at Fort Mott, which has 700 soldiers. So we are going to... This Reliance-class steamer, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the crew capacity. And then I'm going to go ahead and... Or actually, the crew capacity will leave at what it is. But we're going to reduce the cargo capacity to about 150. Actually, we'll reduce the crew to about 170. And then we're going to throw some troops on here. We'll throw 200 soldiers. Let's reduce the cargo a little bit more. The crew a little bit more. I don't intend for these guys to fight a whole lot, but we're going to put 289 soldiers on the USS Reliance, which is a steamer. And then we're going to also... I can't fit a lot of guys on this tug. So... The Reliance-class steamer, and then the Harriet Lane-class steamer. Well, no, we can't even... The Reliance is the only one that can carry a good deal of soldiers. I suppose we could take some of the cargo off one of our sloops of war. Put some soldiers on it. This frigate can probably drop some of its cargo. Whoops, not the crew. Cargo. So put 200 soldiers on that frigate. And then... Okay, so we are going to load up with... How many soldiers here? We're basically taking the entire fort's complement. Okay, so we'll take all these guys. This is the Atlantic Blockading Squadron. And then we will send them down here. And we're going to attack Cape Hatteras with them. I think we'll also take these gunboats here, these 4 gunboats, and have them join the force as well. Or actually, we'll use these 5 gunboats. So they're gonna merge off the coast here, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna try and take Cape Hatteras from the Confederates. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. All right, this guy has cargo, right? So he should be going to Northern Europe. So go trade with Northern Europe. Because trade is a thing in this game. Enemy vessels at Pensacola. 700 soldiers coming south. The intent is to take Fort Hatteras and Fort Clark. Although I don't know that I have enough troops to take both. We'll see. So we're going to sail these guys south. Enemy vessels docked at Norfolk. It's now November, by the way, of 61. Where's my blockade squadron? So this guy's a blockade runner. This guy's a blockade runner. Where are you guys going? You're trying to engage this blockade runner. We'll see if they can get to him. It might be too fast. Take a better angle. Oh my god, we're just chasing them all over the Gulf. I really should have just kept my blockade line set up and maybe we would have... Captain THG, you're just sailing around to no purpose. Maybe we should just go blockade Havana. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode. This was the first part of my look at Victory at Sea Ironclad, a new strategy and war game out by Evil Twin Artworks, the developers of Victory at Sea Pacific. This is a game that looks at the American Civil War from a naval perspective and really puts you in the shoes of either the Union as you attempt to shut down Confederate trade and take Confederate ports and slowly strangle the Confederacy, or as the Confederates where you try and do the opposite of that and use blockade runners to bring resources home to build your base of supplies up. I think, my initial impression of this game is that it's a really cool concept. I'm not sure how well executed the game is, but there is a lot going for it. But I think I need some more time before I can really say whether this is worth, $40 or whatnot. I do think my initial impression of this is much more positive than Victory at Sea Pacific, where I think they were trying to do too much, and it was just... the massive scale of the Second World War in the Pacific with air combat, submarine combat, surface combat, taking the islands and all of that. It's a much more complex conflict, and so I think this game may actually fit the system a little bit better. But I do want to go ahead and cover this game at least through the remainder of this stream, because in our next episode, we'll actually look at some amphibious operations as we attempt to take Fort Hatteras and Fort Clark on the Atlantic seaboard, as well as trying to go for some enemy blockade runners and whatnot. So with that being said, let's wrap this up here. We're almost at an hour. It's a little bit long for one of these videos, but let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this is something that looks interesting to you, if this is something that you would find interesting to see a little bit more content. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.